I love them. Like, really, I miss them so much.
Mr. McLean, I won't hug him, but I'll, like, you're going to be living in New York City and Amsterdam.
Because I had to read a lot in Miss Long's classes, and now I have to read even more.
Peace, be still, my darling.
Was this your first time at an English school, and how did you find like adjusting to a small English speaking boarding school?
Yeah, so I believe that the first year is the most challenging year for all students because you don't have any friends. The whole system of living on campus is new, and you might not be fluent in English like I was. So I spent the first 2 years trying to get rid of the language barrier I had, and I think it is absolutely essential to find your place at AIS.
Perfect. And Danila?
Yeah, well, it was my first time studying in English, and it was my first time being away from home for such a long period. So, like, my first year was the period of adjustment for me. And I was trying to find new friends, and I was able to. I was also trying to find my place at AIS.
Yeah. Do you think that might have been easier because it was a smaller school? It was kind of easier to maybe, you're kind of forced to be friends with everybody in a way.
Yeah, I think it was quite easy because you also basically live near a lot of people, so it's kind of impossible not to make new friends.
How do you find the difficulty level and the workload at the college level compared to your senior year at AIS-Salzburg?
Well, yeah, again, it's difficult to compare the workload because my first semester at Fordham was virtual. Still, I would say that the difficulty and workload, they are about the same, so.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same. Since Hellen and I, we had 5 APs. It was quite difficult, and university is also quite difficult. So I think it's pretty much the same, except that I have more free time at the university. But because of that, I have to be able to manage my free time, not to forget studying.
So what aspects of going to a small college preparatory school, you mentioned the free time, there was structured study hall. You had to, be at the school at a certain time. You had to check in at a certain time and lights out at a certain time. So what part of that experience do you think best prepared you for your college studies and being self-disciplined and managing your own time?
Well, I think challenging classes and having to manage my time helped me to prepare for university the most. Also, having to leave by a schedule and studying at a certain time helped me a lot because now I find it easier to make myself studying instead of doing something else that's maybe more fun. And so I think, yeah, and also actually Miss Long's classes helped me a lot because I had to read a lot in Miss Long's classes, and now I have to read even more. So that helped me a lot.
Okay. Just while you mentioned that, at the time you probably were like, okay, this is a lot of reading. Why is she giving us so much reading? And now after the fact, you're kind of realizing, wow, she had my best interest in mind. She's pushing me and it's best prepared me for college kind of thing. Would you agree? Or?
Yeah, that's right. Because then at that time I thought it's way too much reading. But now I think that it wasn't that much actually. I was just complaining too much.
All right. That takes a lot to admit that, all right?
I have always appreciated how supportive all of the teachers and RAs at AIS were, and the classes I took at AIS, especially English classes with Miss Long, Humanities with Mr. McLean, AP European History, and AP Human Geography with Mr. Gardi, they were the most helpful classes, and even continue using my notes from these classes in my college courses, so definitely. And I also would like to mention that even though the Fordham community is pretty diverse, international students are the minority still. And so I miss like this sort of international community I had back at AIS.
What do you miss about AIS-Salzburg? You can name one thing, you can name multiple things, whatever you want to answer.
Well, I definitely miss the teachers because I treat some of the faculty members at AIS as my family members because they were like the only ones who were able to support me when I needed it. And I'm not only talking about things that are school related, so they knew a lot about my personal life. And these people became very close to me and I hold them so dearly.
I miss having weekend activities since there's a pandemic right now. I don't really get to do fun things during the weekend. But of course, I also miss the teachers and them always being able to help, even after classes. Moreover, I really miss being a part of a boarding school. And since right now I don't really have all of my friends living near me, so yeah, that's what I also miss a lot.
If there's any messages you want me to pass along to any teachers, let me know. Or if there's
Yeah,
anything you want to
yeah,
add.
please. Yeah, please hug Miss Kasperger, Mr. Gardy, and Mr. McLean. Like, I love them. Like, really, I miss them so much because Mr. McLean and Mr. Gardy, they actually emailed me like a few weeks ago, and we just chatted a little bit. And it's one thing when you can like email a person, but it's a completely different thing
Yeah.
when you can just hug them and talk to them in real life.
So Miss Kasperger, Mrs. McLean, and Mr.
Yeah,
Agardi.
Mr. McLean too. Yeah.
Mr. McLean, I won't hug him, but I'll give him a
good
fist bump.
handshake,
I really miss Mr. Agardi's and Mr. McLean's classes, and like listening to them. That's what I really miss a lot because it was so nice sitting there and just listening to what they say. It's a feeling that I don't have right now at the university.
Like you're going to be living in New York City and Amsterdam, like two of the most desired cities in the world to live in. And so what are you looking forward most to about living in and studying in those cities?
When Danila and I went to New York last summer, it was such a great experience because it's a big city. It's a big city life, and all people there, they're so different from each other. And New York is so international, and it kind of like reminds me of AIS because there are so many different people, and you can just like meet people with different interests there. And I really miss this atmosphere of having like the whole world basically in one place.
For me, it's actually kind of the same because Amsterdam has this reputation of being really international. And yeah, that's what I'm really looking forward to. But I've never been to Amsterdam, but I heard that it's a beautiful city and that people are really nice there. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
Good guys. Have a good weekend.
Thanks, you too.
Yeah,
Bye-bye.
take care.